The winning blueprint presents the Redskins Report.
Welcome, my Redskin fellow brethren and sisterin. I am your man and resident Redskins fan, Lou. Welcome to the Redskins Report. And I'll call this the week in review, as I'll break down each and every day of camp for this past week for the Washington Redskins. And we'll talk Redskins football here on this program as we continue to work our way towards that first preseason matchup versus the Tennessee Titans coming up here in a week or so. And as we continue to work towards that first week of the regular season, we will break everything Redskins related down here on this program. Roster moves, training camp happenings, injuries, you name it, it's going to be broken down here on this program. So let's start with Monday's training camp. And the big news from Monday was the D'Angelo Hall injury. He went down, rolled his ankle pretty bad. It was reported that it was a one-on-one matchup between he and receiver Sky Dawson. He made a sharp cut, did Dawson. D'Angelo Hall tried to plant on the ankle. It gave way. Could have been a lot worse. He rolled his ankle. They had x-rays. They were inconclusive. A lot of times when you hear that word, you get a little worried. Sounds like somewhat of a bone bruise or something to that effect. He sprained his ankle pretty severely, was in a walking boot for much of the week. He took the walking boot off. I think it's going to be a precautionary thing where they just allow him to sit out, rest the ankle. You know, with these ankle sprains, they're usually a 2 or 3 week injury. And so it's camp. If you're going to sprain your ankle, this is the time to do it. He did it. So don't expect to see D'Angelo Hall in that first preseason game. Don't expect to see him maybe the first or second preseason game. I think they're going to take it slow. You do not want to have any setbacks with ankles because those things can linger if you do not handle them correctly. So I expect D'Angelo Hall to be on the shelf for a while, you know, going through the motions in practice, being mentally stimulated by taking mental reps, but you probably will not see him back on the practice field for quite a while here as we try to nurse him back to injury. But we'll talk about the impact that that injury had in camp later on in the week as we get down towards Thursday and Friday. But let's move on to Tuesday in camp. And the big news on Tuesday was, of course, we had the injury earlier in camp to second-year linebacker Keenan Robinson. And so that opened up a void at backup linebacker for us. And you know, on the inside of this linebacking core, we definitely need depth. And I thought that that injury hurt because you want to see these young guys be mentored by London Fletcher. You want to see these young guys get reps and get better. And I thought Keenan Robinson was getting that way toward the end of that rookie season when he got injured. And so it was really good to see him come back. And you thought, yes, year 2, London's probably going to be on his way out after this season. And so you definitely wanted to see him get some of that tutelage from London, and boom, he goes down again. And so that's a bitter pill to swallow, but that left a void at backup linebacker. We need depth on the inside of this linebacking core. And I wouldn't have been opposed to just having a guy like Brian Keel fill in that role and just continue on. But to have a veteran like Nick Barnett, when I heard the Redskins were interested in Nick Barnett, I've always been a Nick Barnett admirer, and I thought that this guy's a really good linebacker. And if you look at what he did in Buffalo a season ago, he was their leading tackler. He can still get it done. He's not the best in pass coverage, but if you stick this guy in the middle of your defense as a guy that you're blitzing or someone to help in the run game, Nick Barnett is really, really good in that capacity. And so I was all on board when I heard the Redskins working him out. Now, of course, he failed a physical in Buffalo. That's part of the reason they let him go. And so you got to check out all the injury stuff. He had some off-season surgery, and so he's still not quite back from that. You got to work him out, see where he is, and see what his mental approach is to the game. Redskins did that on Tuesday. So that was the big news on Tuesday. On Tuesday as well, we got a scare. Trent Williams, who came into camp, and this was undisclosed, no one really knew about this, had been dealing with a wrist injury that he had from about a year and a half ago. And he's kept that under wraps. And again, Trent plays with a lot of injuries that we don't know about. And that's any football player, really. You really don't know what these guys are really going through you only know what they disclose to you. And Trent has been dealing with a wrist injury since about his second year in the league, and he's done a great job of keeping that under wraps. Well, he fell on it awkwardly on Tuesday in camp, re-aggravated that injury, and it scared a lot of people. He's got a soft cast on that wrist right now, and he'll be playing with that for a while, hoping that it heals up before the season starts. But that was a scary situation because if we lose Trent Williams, I tell you what, that would tear at the fabric of this offensive line because left tackle is the most important position on any offensive line. Doesn't matter. You look around the whole entire National Football League, left tackle is where it's at. You got a right-handed quarterback, your left tackle has to be legit. You got a left-handed quarterback, your right tackle has to be legit, covering up that blind side. And so for our offensive line, there's no doubt about it. Trent Williams is the most indispensable part we have on our offensive line. And so good to see that he is okay. It's an injury that he can play through, and we'll be fine. We just got to keep a close eye on his wrist and how it's doing, but we dodged the bullet on that one. So that's what happened on Tuesday. We move on to Wednesday, and Wednesday for us was the day that we actually signed Nick Barnett. After the workout on Tuesday, Redskin officials were impressed with what they saw. Now, look, he's not ready to go. He's still nursing from that surgery he had in the offseason, and so he's not ready to go. Don't know when you'll see him in practice. He's taking mental reps right now. But he is officially a Washington Redskin, and he came in, and his approach is, hey, I'm not looking to come in here as a backup. I'm looking to push London. I'm looking to push Perry. He's not going to start. And that's the approach he's supposed to have. As a veteran in this league who has started his whole entire career, he doesn't know what a backup role is. And so he's not willing to just concede anything. And that's the way you got to approach it if you're Nick Barnett. But he's not unseating London. He's not unseating Perry. He needs to approach it as if he's a starter because you don't know. And one of these guys could go down and in the blink of an eye, he could be starting at inside linebacker for us. So he needs to approach it as if he's a starter. But if everything goes the way we want it to, he will be a backup and provide some serious depth on the inside of the linebacking corps for us. So great move. I love the pickup of Nick Barnett. If this guy's healthy, we got ourselves a steal in the form of Nick Barnett. So love that signing. That happened on Wednesday. Also, what happened on Wednesday, if you guys were keeping up with the Redskins, you heard Robert Griffin III was quote unquote ramping it up on Wednesday. And what this means, and this is how the Redskins are approaching Robert Griffin III. They started him out on 7-on-7 drills, as you all know. And when they first started him with the 7-on-7 drills, he only took 8 reps. And they said, look, we're going to go with 8 reps for the first 3 days of practice. If we have no setbacks, if we like the way everything is going, we'll amp it up a little bit to 10 reps. And that's what happened. They went from 8 reps, 3 days of 8 reps, to 2 days of 10 reps. And then on that 6th day of practice, which was Wednesday, they said, hey, we like what's going on. Let's amp him up to 16 reps on 7-on-7 drills. And so that was big for the Redskins. Going from 8 to 10 to 16, huge leap. That means they doubled his workload from when they first started out. So now they went from 8 to 10 to 16 reps of 7-on-7 drills. And they're going to see how he does there. And then they'll progress it up a little bit more. And then he'll work his way on to 11-on-11 drills. So, and that's the live bullets firing at you, essentially. Guys rushing at you. Of course, they won't touch him. You can't touch the quarterbacks in training camp. But guys will be flying at him. Blitzes will be coming his way. And that's when you get the instinctiveness. The guy coming at you and you just dart out of the pocket. That's when you put that extra torque on that knee. That's when you plant on that knee and you just go at random angles. That's when you'll know he's fully back and he's ready to go. And so that's a while from now. I don't want to see him doing that because you can try to structure it the way you want and kind of keep him in a bubble, so to speak. But if you put him in on 11-on-11s and you turn guys loose and someone comes free, a blitzer comes free or a defensive end beats a tackle or a guard and they come at him free, his instincts will take over and he'll just take off. And he'll put some extra pressure on that knee that hasn't been put on it to this point. And so we don't want that right now. So him taking 16 reps in 7-on-7, that's a big deal. That happened on Wednesday. And so he was spotty. He was good at times. He was a little off He threw a pick straight to Josh Wilson. So he's got some things he's got to work through, some kinks he's going to have to work out. But that's what training camp is for. I expect him to get better and progress, get more comfortable with the knee. He's going to be wearing that knee brace this year, as we all know. And so I expect him to work his way back into football shape. And don't be surprised. The Redskins have told you that he's not playing in the preseason. Don't be surprised if this guy takes one possession in the last preseason game in week 4 versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Do not, I repeat, do not be surprised if he plays in the preseason. They told us that he was not going to play in the preseason so that we wouldn't look for him. But you'd be crazy to think that the Redskins wouldn't at some point try to get this guy's feet wet during the preseason. I wouldn't be surprised at all if I saw him in week 4 versus Tampa Bay for a series or two just to get him some game action going into week 1 against Philadelphia. You didn't hear it from me, but you heard it from me. The Redskins are probably going to play this guy at some point in the preseason. So that was Wednesday. You move on to Thursday. And I talked about D'Angelo Hall going down on Monday. This is the ill effects of him going down, but this is also a gift and a curse. Thursday, it was reported that this secondary looked horrendous. Absolutely breakdowns in coverage. Guys were not where they were supposed to be. Assignments were blown. Receivers were running free. And a lot of that has to be attributed to having 2 rookies in because Bakari Rambo is running with the ones at the safety position, if you did not know. Also, at cornerback with D'Angelo Hall coming out, the Redskins decided to insert second-round pick in our first overall selection in the 2013 draft in David Amerson into the cornerback position across from Josh Wilson. And so that's what the cornerback situation looked like. And then you throw in the fact that Bakari Rambo is back at safety. And so you got 2 new guys back there, a lot of miscommunication, a lot of guys not knowing what they're supposed to be doing in certain coverages. And it looked bad out there. But you need these growing pains. Better it happen in training camp than in first preseason game or the third. Look, I expect blown assignments, missing assignments, guys to be open, things to be broken down in that first game against Tennessee. Maybe even that second game as well. What I'm looking for, though, is for by preseason game number 3, those mistakes to not be happening. All right, get better every single day in practice. Get better in every single preseason game. And that's what I'm looking for. Mistakes are going to happen. I expect it. When you got young guys, rookies out there, mistakes are going to happen. It's a part of the growing process. It's a part of the game. It's just going to happen. What they have to do is learn from those mistakes. Do not make the same mistakes over and over again. And so, yeah, I expect them to be reporting to us that, hey, these guys are making monumental mistakes in camp and guys are running free. It was almost like 7-on-7 when it was 11-on-11 because blown assignments, guys were running open. It was like throwing against air. No one was around. And so that's alarming, but at the same time, it's to be expected when you've got 2 rookies at both levels, corner and safety out there. You're going to have some miscommunication. You're going to have guys not knowing where they're supposed to be. It's going to happen. Learn from those mistakes, get better. So I think Thursday was huge for guys understanding that, hey, look, we got to make sure we do our job, and we need to know, first and foremost, what our assignment and job is on every single given play, every single call. We need to know where we're supposed to be, when we're supposed to be there. So great learning experience, but again, it just goes to show you that, hey, you can't just throw these rookies in here and expect things to just be flawless. We're going to have some growing pains in this season. Keep in mind, our defense in terms of passing in 2012 was monumentally bad. In the pantheon of all-time yards given up in a season, Redskins in 2012 are 6th all-time. That's how bad we gave up over 4,500 passing yards in 2012. That's good for 6th worst all-time in the National Football League's history. So we were pretty bad against the pass in 2012. So expect us to have some problems, but we will not, I repeat, we will not be as bad as we were in 2012. I mean, you can't get much worse than what we were a season ago. And so it's good to see guys getting their feet wet. I am glad that D'Angelo Hall going out to injury is going to give guys an opportunity to play. Don't want to see anybody get hurt, as we all know. But him going out is also a blessing because it's going to give guys opportunities to be thrown into the fire, make mistakes. And look, there's nothing wrong with baptism by fire as long as it's in the preseason. And that's what this injury to D Hall is going to do. It's going to thrust some of these guys into action with the ones so they know what's going on. They get comfortable working with some of these guys that are going to be on the field during the regular season, and we're going to see them have to think, make adjustments, and then learn how to play in this defense. So I'm glad that this is happening now so that guys can get comfortable with their position. So that was Thursday. Friday, not a lot going on. The weather kind of turned on the Redskins in camp. Wednesday, it was a little wet. Thursday, it was very wet. So was Friday. And so not much to report from Friday. Not a lot of injuries this week. So that's a good thing. Good to see that we're staying relatively healthy in training camp. As you know, Saturday was Fan Appreciation Day. Redskins had fun with that. I'm not a big Fan Appreciation Day guy. I've been there before. I'll never go again. It's a lot of fans who really don't know the game just coming out and having a good time, and that's fine. You don't mind that, but me being a purist, me being a huge fan, knowing a lot about the game, I get kind of annoyed when people talk to me that don't know the game, or people who don't know the game are just talking and saying a lot of nonsense. It kind of annoys me a little bit. So I try to stay away from those kind of events. And so the Redskins Fan Appreciation Day went over good. That's great. And so we will be looking forward to next week's camp. I'm going to try to get out there, hopefully this week coming up. If not, it'll be the week thereafter. But I didn't want to go early on in the process because I wanted to see the Redskins in full pads. And that first week, no pads. They had their first padded week of practice this week that we're talking about, so that was great. Now I want to really, it'd be ideal for me to see Robert taking 11 on 11 snaps. If I can get up there when he's doing that and bring that to you, that would be awesome. If not, it is what it is. But either way, I will be reporting live from Redskins camp. You will see it in depth. You'll see the walkthrough. You'll see everything crystal clear. And I'll make sure that it's a very good, enjoyable segment for you guys. And so be on the lookout for that. But that's the Redskins Report week in review, breaking down all things Redskins here on this program. That was all of the happenings over the last week to catch you up on where we are as a football team. So there's going to be football tonight. Cowboys and Dolphins Hall of Fame game. And look, it's a preseason game and it's the Hall of Fame game. And so you're going to see the starters for maybe one possession. Tony Romo isn't playing. And so I know a lot of you out there are like, oh man, this is bad football. It's football. I don't care who's playing. It's football. This is the start of the season. From this point on, this Sunday, you will not go another Sunday without football until February. How sweet is that? People, understand the magnitude of this. There will be football every Sunday thereafter from this game on. Don't you just love football? Oh my goodness. And so, if nothing else, watch the Cowboys game because you gotta know thy enemy. And so, you want to keep your friends close, you want to keep your enemies even closer. So, watch this Cowboys game. I'll be watching intently. And look, you'll see Des Bryant and company for about a series, if that, and they'll get out of there. And so it won't be a lot there to watch. But knowing who I am and you guys knowing how thorough I am, I'm going to watch the game. I'm going to see what the Cowboys have on that second and third tier of guys, see who they have coming up, who we need to be looking out for. So if you don't watch, trust me, I'll watch for you. Don't worry about it, and I'll break it all down. And so it'll be fun. It's football, folks. And so I am amped. I am ready to go. I can't wait. It's Bart Scott time for me. And so I'm a Redskins fan, etched in burgundy and gold. My Redskins spirit will never die. My Redskins spirit will never fold. Until we meet again, hail to the Redskins. You guys have a good one, and I will see you next time here on the Redskins Report.
The Redskins Report.